What's up, Freedom fans? Welcome back inside another edition of the Freedom Focus. I am Aaron Brodie. Man, it seems like it's been ages since we've done this, but we're going to get back on track with a bang. The guy sitting to my right, the two-time All-Star closer for your Florence Freedom. His name is Johnathon Tripp. You've probably heard of him at this point. Still has not allowed an earned run in 2019. That kind of thing gets noticed. He will be going to the All-Star game in Rockland County, New York on July 10th. So let's start right there. Johnathon, how does it feel to be recognized in your second season in Florence as still one of the very best closers in the league?
You know, I give a lot of credit to Pelfrey and all them guys.
Oh, that was a foul ball in batting practice that nearly beheaded the All-Star closer. I never would have lived that down. We talked about this earlier. We're going to continue rolling here. We're going to go with it. But wow, sorry about that, Johnathon.
I guess we're going to be looking down there a little heavier now. So, but yeah, like I was saying, I give a lot of credit to the coaching staff for pretty much changing my career. Was a starter for the longest time and found success there, but I had my ups and downs. And last year they moved me into the bullpen and didn't start out as a closer per se. We were a closer by committee, you know, and kind of things started. We had a couple guys picked up, Jamison McGrain and Marty Anderson, and it kind of just worked out to where I was in the 8th and the 9th. And Jake Haberer, as we all know, is with Seattle now, and he's doing really well. He came in, and me and him were kind of splitting back in. So, I mean, it was a lot of coaches, and it just kind of worked out the way it worked out. You know, I found a comfort zone, and I love the pressure situations.
Yeah, we can see that for sure. So you already mentioned it. You were a starter at one point. What has that transition been like? Since you've come to Florence, you've been the ace in the hole late in games. What was the biggest transition, I guess, from being a starter to having to be at your absolute best late in ball games?
I think the biggest transition was the getting ready part, because as a starter, you have as much time you want before the game to...
Another ball. Yeah, so we're never going to be doing an interview in the bullpen again, probably.
It just keeps our head on a swivel. But like I was saying, the biggest part about going to the bullpen is probably just the time to get ready, you know, get the body ready. And I'd say it was a little easier for me to go to the starting role into a bullpen role, because if you can last as a starter, the endurance, it helps as a bullpen guy. The back-to-back days was a big thing that I had to adjust to. It took a little time to get used to that, but that's just conditioning and off-season work.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the adrenaline junkies that closers usually are. You don't see a lot of guys come in unless it is a safe situation in the 9th inning, so 3 runs or less. A lot of guys don't like the work. Another foul ball is coming this way. It's going to carry him off and make its way right past the camera and through the tripod. Man, this is the most off-the-cuff interview, but Jonathan's always great to roll with it. We're keeping the eye on batting practice, as you can tell, but now let's get back on track here. So a lot of closers will not come into games if they're not in a safe situation. They need that heart rate flowing. They need the adrenaline of the moment. We've seen you obviously dazzle in those adrenaline-filled moments, but we've also seen you get some work just a couple days ago in a game the Freedom were winning 11-3 over Joliet. You came in, shut them down. Really, it's like you just flip a switch when you come in the game. How difficult is it when it's not a safe situation to still have your best stuff? It's obviously not been a big issue for you.
Yeah, and I think most of that, like the other night, I knew me and Craigie were probably going to go into that game. Craigie, and McKenna have been pretty much the 7th, 8th, 9th, and they're both having fantastic seasons. Obviously, McKenna's an all-star. So in a game like that, it's just a concentration level. You know, Craigie did a great job that night, too, up 11-3, because he's one of those guys that's going to go and give his very best every night. So for me, adrenaline wasn't as high, but it's a concentration thing where you got to be ready to pitch at any time, no matter the situation, up or down. And you just got, if you love the game and love pitching, it's every situation you love. You know, it's harder sometimes, but yeah, the other night I needed the work. Hadn't pitched in a few days and figured some things out, and it helped me last night.
Talking with Freedom closer Johnathon Tripp, who has a league-leading 9 saves in 2019, his second season with the Freedom. In fact, the only other guy in the league to have 9 saves is on the other side of the field in this series. Connor Eller for the Schaumburg Boomers. You will both be in Rockland County, New York for the All-Star game. Let's talk about your save last night. So Scott Sebald goes back out in the 9th inning. He went 8 strong, brilliant innings, didn't allow his first hit until the bottom of the 6th. Ran into a little bit of trouble in the 9th. Tying run was at the plate in the form of Nick Odo, the all-star catcher for the Schaumburg Boomers, when you were called in. 3-1, the Freedom were leading at the time. Had to come in and have your best stuff in that moment. What was that moment like going out there, and what was going through your mind?
Well, it was an awesome feeling for one, because I had some family in the stands, and they were probably the loudest ones in the stands all night, and eager for me to go in. And when I got the nod to warm up in the 9th, my adrenaline was initially started, because I love coming in and you treat those runners like they're your own. You know, after the guy goes 8 strong, you don't want anything to happen. So that's when you have to be at your very best. And I love those situations coming in, getting out of jams like that. And the stuff was working last night. Me and Pritchard were on the same page. Battled Odo a little bit. Ended up good hitter, you know. He wasn't going down. We were throwing some good pitches, and me and Jackson were on the same page to get that out. And same thing with the last hitter, you know. But the family definitely helped a little bit of the adrenaline for a back-to-back day. Mom's in the stands, cousins are in the stands, so that was fun. Like, that was probably one of my more fun outings, getting in front of the family. So that definitely fueled a little bit of the adrenaline there.
Jonathan's Mr. Modest. I'll go ahead and tell you what happened anyway. Nick Odo, he struck him out. Matt Rose hit next, struck him out. Faced just 2 batters, fanned them both, protected that Freedom 3-1 victory to set up a chance for Florence to win the series in tonight's middle game, first pitch at 6 o'clock. We told you before we started this interview, Jonathan, we want to talk a little bit about your college days. You and I, both Texas guys, both Lubbock guys for a period in our life. I lived in Lubbock, Texas for a year and a half. My brother still lives there. My sister-in-law lives there. A couple of kids they're raising in Lubbock, Texas. What an awesome community is, and what a heck of a baseball program led by Tim Tadlock. You got the chance to play for Tim and go on that first College World Series trip that Tim Tadlock brought to Lubbock. Talk to us a little bit about pitching for the Texas Tech Red Raiders.
So it was a funny story about how it all started. I was a junior in high school, I should say, not college, when it all started, and didn't have a single offer coming in, and never played a day. Sup, Rinsky? Never had a day on varsity, and the old coach Dan Spencer was there, and he was with Oregon State, the pitching coach there, who had won a couple College World Series with Oregon State, and offered me a scholarship to hit and pitch, and kind of took itself from there. And when Spencer left, Tadlock honored my scholarship, and freshman year was a tough year. You know, we had 8 returners. I think we had like 19 or 20 freshmen. So it was a real rebuilding year, but the guys that ended up being there my sophomore year in 2014, like Bryant Burleson, Tim Proudfoot, all those guys, the Tech fans will know who those are, Eric Gutierrez, we really created a big bond. You know, pitching in Lubbock, Texas is a special kind of experience. Sell out a lot of games on weekends, played a lot of big series. Probably one of the most memorable series I didn't even pitch in was when Kyle Schwarber was with Indiana. Came in number 3 in the country, beat him 3 out of 4. That kind of got our season on track. And after that, it was kind of over from there, and we were, I can't remember what series it was. It might have been Kansas. We got swept at Kansas, and we got a pretty good butt chewing from Tadlock. And from there, we won we led the country in home winning streak that year, and just, I wouldn't say we're the best ball team, but we had probably some of the best chemistry you'll ever see on a baseball team, and it showed in the postseason. Won the Super Regional 1-0, 1-0. So it was a real grind, but Omaha, man, that's every guy that gets to go, I'm just so pumped for him, especially Tech, because that program was nothing until Tim Tadlock came in. They had good players, everything, never made really many Super Regionals. He turned the program around, gets a lot of good players, Ray Hayward, J. Bob Thomas, and Gardner. Get a lot of good players there, and it's fun to watch. I'm proud to be a Red Raider at one point.
Absolutely. Finished his career at New Mexico with the Lobos and dazzled there as well. Talk to us a little bit about that experience in Omaha, what it was like, some of the things you remember, just the pageantry of that weekend.
So, I mean, you're treated like royalty, basically. You get to fly a chartered plane. You know, you feel like a major league team. I bet you can ask some major league players if they wish they could have gotten to play in the experience, and I guarantee every single one of them would say yes, because there's 300-something D1 baseball schools, and only 8 get to experience it a year, and it is a special moment. It was something as a kid you dream of, and you get there, and opening ceremonies, you get to meet all the players from other teams. They huge barbecue, and then the opening ceremony is awesome. You get to walk in through center field. There's flames going everywhere. And you walk in on the field with your team, and then you sit down, and there's an academic award, and pretty much all Americans are honored, and then they all fly, and then you have paratroopers from every division of the armed forces just dropping in with your team flag, and just from there it was awesome. And then to get to play in the College World Series against some of the best players in the country is awesome.
No doubt about it. Well, this is good stuff, Jonathan. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to join us in the Freedom Focus and doing it right here in harm's way during batting practice. This is the 2-time All-Star, Johnathon Tripp. That was Dan Williams. He's making the start tomorrow for the Freedom against the Schaumburg Boomers. Hopefully Florence will be looking for a sweep in that series. First pitch tonight at 6 o'clock. Jonathan, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Keep it locked on the Freedom Focus. More interviews to come with more regularity, always on FlorenceFreedom.com.